How many teens are learning about investing and entrepreneurship in our schools? These interviews were created to bring more awareness of this topic of investing and entrepreneurship to our teens. Be sure to listen to these masterminds provided in these interviews with expertise in the areas of options trading, cryptocurrency, and money management. We bring to you Aaron Sim of Wealth Mentors, Josh Clausen of SAT Stacker Mastermind, and Cassie Farrer of Behind the Heels, with our guest host, Basia Malik.
So I transitioned, become an entrepreneur. The biggest difference is an entrepreneur, you get paid based on results. Employee majority get paid based on time spent. How successful my process became was I have a 25 years housing loan before I learned that process. 3 years later, I was able to pay off my 25 years housing loan from the skills that I learned from option trading with my mentor that time. And since then, I realized that actually I can help a lot more people with the skill set. I was able to transition from corporate world to the business world to help people to have that skill set to do it themselves as well. The other factor is time. You realize that if you put in $5,000 a year to invest aside, over 20 years with 5% a year, you probably get about less than 200,000. But with 25% return over 20 years, do you know how much that amount grow? 2.1 million. Warren Buffett, world famous, right? You realize that Warren Buffett net worth, meaning his wealth, was derived 85% of it after his 65 years old, after his 65th birthday. Let me say it again. His wealth, 85% of it came in after 65 years old. Why? Because he started investing when he was like 10, 11 years old. Now he's like 80 plus years old. He got time. And so his rate of return, he doesn't need to be very high rate of return. He just need to make maybe 15, 20%. He will grow his money. So when you think about investing, think of long term, that way. Then after that, you find out that specific instrument that allow you to grow.
So what are the advantages and disadvantages in investing in options?
I would say the advantages of investing in option is you don't have to use a lot of money to get started. It's a leverage instrument. It means that actually by using an option, you use a little bit of money, but your growth results are very high. What's the disadvantage? You can lose a lot of money too, because if it doesn't go your way, if it go against you, you can lose huge amount. Advantage of buying stocks is that it is unlikely that you lose 100%. Maybe there's a small dip, and then if you hold it through, you can go up higher. So the advantage of using options is a short-term instrument that allows you to profit very quickly. Downside on option is there's an expiration date. Expiration date meaning that once that $6 you buy, maybe it's actually for 2 weeks. Once they expire, if you don't get out, you can lose everything. Very few people really understand about the power option is. It's the only instrument that allows you to make money whether stock price go up or go down.
Many investors and entrepreneurs talk about mindset being a big part of success. What are your thoughts on this?
I definitely agree. I will say that actually the number one is trading, for example, investing is, I would say 80 to 90% psychology. 80 to 90% psychology. The technique is probably 10 to 20%. Okay? And does it has also other elements involved? Does luck involved? Yes, I would say luck is involved too. Luck probably 10% of the whole equation. 10%. And I always tell people what I mean by luck. Luck is L-U-C-K, right? It stands for learning using correct knowledge. If you learn using correct knowledge, luck, L-U-C-K, you definitely be luckier than those who don't. So the mindset is this way, is psychology makes a huge difference. So what are the psychologies that's involved? Always think of investing to learn the skill set for long term. Always think it for long term, meaning that it's not just to make money today and then next year I don't do it. Whether you're investing in property, think of long term opportunity to grow, meaning that skill set you're learning is day by day compounded on a long term basis. Same thing when you're trading, investing, never look at a single results that you will make a decision to do again or not. For example, like if I make money last week, I'm happy. If I didn't make money last week, I'm also okay, no problem. Look at over a series of trade to measure the results. Okay, never let somebody tell you, okay, I make last week 1000%, or then you think the guy is a guru, but look at the series of trade. Always think through series of trade. Okay, over a period of time. That matters that way. Okay, so that is very important mindset to do this thing. And always think of actually learning from the experience. That way, if you make money, fine. Record it down, fine. But if you lose money, always find out, okay, what things that you can do differently with that experience. How do you do it? Tracking your results are critical. And a lot of people don't like to track the results on their trading because they just get excited to put in the trade, make money and find about it. But when they lose money, they only remember the one that's most recent loss or the most recent gain. Remember about Charlotte, she took 2,600 to grow to 106,000. Okay? These are her actual results from her trading statement. And she was able to buy the home for a family in Malaysia. Now, if you look through, for example, Charlotte's journey, she didn't make the money like the 106,000 just overnight. She progressively make like $400. Then after that, compounded to $800. And the period of 2 months, that make the 5,000 gain. You see, the first 2 months is very slow because then it takes time to compound. That's why you take a longer time period. That over that period, that compounded make a huge difference that way. So what I'm saying is always think about compounding time. Just like you are having a knowledge and experience in your study, take time as you grow, you become better as you track on these results. Okay, that's about Charlotte.
I know that you've been doing this for a long time and you've gained a lot of knowledge and experience. So looking back now, what advice would you give to your younger self?
That I would want to become an employee, probably not 20 years, but would probably do it for 10 years. And I still think that actually in the accounting profession is a fantastic learning experience when people are actually paying me to learn. Although I get very little pay, right? Because the experience is to be able to actually give me a variety of experience as an employee. It's actually a fantastic job. Don't jump and become an entrepreneur just like this, because being an employee in a multinational company that allows steep learning experience, although it is hard, has a tremendous value for me. For example, I wouldn't actually gone into experience into banking, industry, or insurance or manufacturing had I didn't go into to Ernst & Young in the first place. And I look at it, my pay was low at that time, but I was tremendous learning experience that way. So get into a company that gives you tremendous learning experience. Accounting was fantastic for me because why? I can be able to use my accounting skill and financial skill in real life experience. Whatever businesses that comes in, right? There's already related to finance. In addition to learning huge experience, is communication skill, presentation skill. And I go back to do this thing saying I will focus more on become a better presenter right in the beginning. I personally choose like a CPA and accounting because I don't like to speak in front of a group. I always say be at the back. But then I realized that overcoming the fear to communicate with people upfront is the biggest personal growth that comes in. Whether you're actually talking to an employee, to your boss, or to a loved one, or to your friends, it's communication, presentation.
Day-to-day life, career life, doing crypto. So
Okay, perfect.
anything's good with me. And I used to be a financial advisor. So anything investment related, you just throw it at me and I got you.
Hi, my name is Aaron, and today we're here with Joshua Clausen, and he is a formal financial advisor who runs a paid crypto group. So Joshua, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
For sure. Yeah. And thanks for reaching out. I always have fun doing this. So I guess the too long didn't read version. I was always in a foreign language. And as I was going through school, I wanted to get my doctorate, and I realized foreign language doesn't pay a lot of money. And so I got an MBA instead and went into the financial advising field. And I started realizing how rigged a lot of this stuff was, and left shortly after and just kind of dabbled around in a lot of things. So eventually I started working back for myself again. And that's when I kind of got back into crypto. I originally got into crypto in 2016 and then got back into it this year and started a paid group, which is, I believe, how we connected.
My second question for you is, what are advantages and disadvantages of investing in cryptocurrency?
So I look at everything in a statistical point of view. So for example, like let's say you have 20 companies that you wanted to invest in, and let's say 19 of them didn't do anything. So it seems like you're a failure, because if you went to school and you took a test and only got 19, you only got one answer right out of 20, you made a 5, and that's an F, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is like, if that one company just shut off and went crazy, you actually succeeded really, really well. And so when I look at tech and innovation, and including cryptocurrency, everything about that's a speculative asset. So the advantages are we're moving more. It's once the technology is invented and put out in the world, you can't really take it away. It's there now. You can try to limit it, but the idea of blockchains, the idea of decentralization, the idea of cryptocurrency exists. So you attempt to invest in risky or speculative assets that could be potentially transformative to everything we know economically or everything we know politically. So the advantages and disadvantages are kind of the same thing. The disadvantages, a lot of it's not going to work out. There's so many things that get invented, especially riding on the back of something like Bitcoin, that's just going to be risky, right? You talked about meme coins earlier when we were chatting before, and it's like a lot of that stuff doesn't work out because they're meme coins, right? They don't really do anything. They have no purpose. But at the same time, the advantages are it has become such an influential type of technology that even the biggest banks in the world and even US governments and federal reserves are talking about creating some type of decentralized or blockchain type currency. And it'll be used for many things outside of currency as well, but the advantages and disadvantages are the same thing. It's a highly risky or highly speculative asset, but at the same time, it has the power to be so transformative to things we can't even fathom right now.
So when someone decides to get into like cryptocurrency, how would you suggest they get started?
So this is the cool thing I was saying about you starting so young, is that the world is going to fundamentally change. By the time, add 15 years to your life and hit my age of 30. By the time you get to this point in my life, everything's going to be so radically different. When I was your age, I didn't even have iPhones weren't a thing yet, right? So when you're starting with yourself, my first thing I would say is not even to jump into a crypto. If you wanted to jump into a crypto, then just go with the safest bet and just buy Bitcoin and hold it, right? But I can't say like, go buy this or go buy that. What I would honestly say do, investment wise, or anybody that wants to get into crypto, is since it's a new subject and you have so much time to learn and get to grow with the development, is learn everything you can. The first investment should always be yourself. Always. If you're down to your last little bit of money and you're like, oh, I could throw it in this company, or I could throw it in this crypto, I could throw it in yourself, because it's you that's going to make the decisions, and those decisions are more important. So I would say if you're starting with anything, yeah, you could go buy Ethereum or you can go buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's been around the longest, and you're probably going to be safe holding that, especially now that some nations are adopting it, right? But we don't know. What we do know is that you can always better yourself and learn more to make the best decisions possible as new things come up.
Could you tell us about a few examples of recent success or
Recent success in the crypto space specifically?
It could be, yeah, sure, or failure. Success or failure works.
Yeah, I would say I have a lot more failures than I ever do success. And that in and of itself is a path to success. Like I mentioned earlier, if you fail 19 times out of 20, the real world it's a lot not like school in a way. School has its advantages and school has its things it has to teach you. But when you get in the real world, it's a lot of group work. It's a lot of not knowing. It's a lot of having to look things up. And it's a lot of failures, right? If you fail your test in school, you didn't study enough or you didn't get the assignment right. But when you fail in the real world, it's always an opportunity to learn. The only time you truly fail is when you quit or give up. So the first success, I would say, is realizing that it is okay in the real world when you're trying something, especially something new like crypto, you're going to mess up more times than you'll ever succeed. And that's okay. Because if you fail 19 times out of 20, but that one time out of 20, that's 10,000 times that of the 19 failures, you truly became a success, right? You broke even and then some. And that's what you want. So a few successes in the crypto space, honestly, it's about temperament of yourself. It's saying like, you know when you're chasing money, you know when you're throwing money at stupid things, you know when you're just chasing the fads, to learn not to do that, right? Or to know that if you did make a little money doing something, we'll stop there. The biggest success I would say is just honestly like developing yourself. It kind of relates to what I said earlier. It's just always about developing yourself. So for me, every time I see something new come up that seems interesting, I discard a lot of it. But the interesting things, really deep dive into those. And you'll find that the more you dive into those things, those deeply into those things, that's when you're really going to realize like, oh, that's when I do best at. But learning and teaching yourself and realizing that you're going to fail a lot more than you succeed, that in and of itself is success. That's the big secret. The fastest way to succeed is to fail again, and then learn about the failures of other people. I know it's like a roundabout way of answering the question, because like specific, I could say like, oh, I bought this coin or I bought that coin or this and that, but that really doesn't matter, because by the time we talk about these coins, things might change, right? But the principles underlying stay the same. It's developing yourself and knowing that it's okay to mess up and it's okay to learn and it's okay to keep going. You know, if you fail, good. What did you learn from it? Go fail again. And as you continually do that, eventually you get to the point where you're really good at something.
My last and final question for you is, if you were to give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
If I was talking to myself specifically, it would be a couple things. Just to echo what I said earlier, it's okay to mess up. When I was younger, I wanted to be in control of a lot of things, and I wanted to think I knew a lot of things. And the sooner you realize that there's always more to learn, and that other people, if you think that you're better than other people, or if you think that you're smarter than other people, really do self-reflection there and realize that if you give other people a chance, sometimes they'll surprise you. That it's okay to say, I don't know. That's very hard when you're in a situation like school where you have to know the answers and you have to pass the test. Like I said, once you leave the school system, you're not going to be in a school system ever again. The vast majority of your life is going to be you on your own. And growing up, a lot of times we think, you know, when I turn a certain age, I'm going to have it figured out. I'll know when to get married, or I'll know when to have kids, or I'll know when to get a career, and everything just works out because that's how it happens. And then one day you realize when you're on your own that no one's calling you to wake you up. No one's telling you to eat right or go to the gym. There's no road book. There's not a manual to life, that you have to make those decisions. So having the humility to check yourself and realize you don't know it all, that other people have a lot to teach, and that always, always, always continue to learn. Fall in love with reading. Fall in love with listening to podcasts. Fall in love with always bettering yourself. And if you just do like small things like that, all big decisions or all macro things are just a bunch of micro things together. So if you just make this one decision about food, or you make this one decision about going to the gym, or you make this one decision about reading this book, and you do those little decisions year after year after year after year, you're going to be so far ahead of anything you thought you could be, and the entire crowd as a whole. It'll blow your mind. So I would just tell myself, you don't know it all. It's okay not to know it all. Don't pretend like you do, and keep striving every day just to make little decisions. Just do the little things better and better and better. And over the years, it stacks up in a big way.
Cool. That was very useful advice.
It's something I wish I heard 10 years ago.
Thank you for your time.
For sure, man. And any other questions or anything you ever have, just hit me up whenever. I love talking about this stuff, and it's fun for me.
All right. That's cool. And I will see you next time, or until next time. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Cassie Boer. I work in the financial industry as a commercial underwriter lead and have been working in the financial industry for over 15 years. I also have a consulting firm helping families and individuals to live a debt-free lifestyle and improve their financial well-being. I'm an Amazon best-selling author and a podcast host of Behind Those Hills podcast. But most importantly, I am a mom of 2 amazing kids.
When someone decides to start investing, how would you suggest they get started?
I would say to start small, but start doing right away. So even if you're just starting with direct deposit, let's say if you have a job, and starting direct deposit, even just to move 1% of your paycheck to a savings account, you can still do something to save. It's not, in the beginning, it's not about how much to save, but more importantly, that you are taking your first step, that you are taking action. So the next step is to get with a professional, or if you feel confident to do so, figure out how much do you need to save based on your savings goal, like your retirement goal, your savings goal. Like, you're really young, so your savings goal might be, down payment for a car or a house. For some others, the savings goal might be saving for retirement. So figure out what that goals are, and then figure out if you're on track based on the amounts that you're saving and based on the performance of the investment. And another thing is, know what you're investing. You want to understand and do your research. If you don't understand what you're investing, it's kind of like gambling. So I would advise to do your research and know what you are really investing.
Financial mistakes that people make, and I'm sure you've seen some yourself. So what is one common financial mistake you see when working with money?
I would say being overly emotional when someone is handling money. It is really hard because everything we do is really to get that emotional need. But oftentimes I see people that are not taking time to get what they need emotionally and ending up like taking shortcuts. So for some people, it might be overeating or drinking. Some other might be swiping credit cards or emotional shopping. That's very common. So I'll advise to really take some time for yourself to fill that cup. So you're not overspending when you're stressing out or getting upset. Another thing is acting out of fear versus looking for opportunities. I see that a lot with investment. People will sell their investment when the market is down because they are scared. They see that they're starting, to lose part of their investment. So they're acting out of fear. If you cannot handle the market's ups and downs, because there are going to be ups and downs, I would suggest to really have a professional to manage your funds, even though that means you will have to pay a fee for management, or learn to focus on long term. And another thing is learn about what you're investing in and feel really good about your investment. Maybe adding a margin of safety. Read about it. There are a lot of investment books out there. I personally love Warren Buffett. His teaching is fantastic. So check out his teaching, check out his book, learn about your investment, feel really good about it, and focus on long term versus just the immediate market ups and downs. Don't try to really time the immediate market. Think about long term. And of course, when you're investing, that's another thing. Have some emergency money. So I've seen that people would take out their money from their investment account, even though the market is not favorable, because they don't have any emergency funds. So set aside some emergency fund money, so then you don't have to take out that money from your investment account. So you can allow the account to accumulate the ups and allow that market adjustment to happen.
Can you tell us about a few examples of recent successes?
Yeah, so one of my clients is now consistently saving $800 a month. Before coming to me, she didn't really have any savings, and reviewing her financial statements, as well as she also has a business, as well as reviewing her business profit and loss statements. I was able to help her improve her business profit margin, develop a budget, establishing a repayment plan, and show her how she can save additional money. But a lot of that has to do with mindset, because when she came to me, the first thing she said was, I can't save money. I always live like paycheck to paycheck, or I always make money from my business, but I don't really save. But I think it's the mindset, because she already came to me thinking that's what it's going to be. But if you're going to take a step, understand that you can actually change your situation by just doing something small. Even if you just start with that 1%, like I said, every time you have profit, pay yourself first by 1%, then increase to 5% to 10%. And really, you don't really notice it because it's not in your account. So, it's all about taking a step and taking action. And now she's really close to reaching her saving goals. My other success story is more personal, and it's about my daughter. I have been teaching her the concepts of money and how to allocate her allowances. Now, she's only 8, but she has a strong understanding of the need to invest while she's young. She's very good, and she's really saving everything that she has. I mean, there's no budgeting need for her. She will save all of her money and manipulate other people to buy what she wants. I mean, while I'm not proud of her for that part, but I am very proud that she has a strong understanding of value of investing at such young age.
If you were to give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, that's a tough one, because I have made a lot of financial and investment mistakes at early age. But if I haven't done so, I probably wouldn't be so motivated to learn about investments. And I learned a lot from my mistakes, and I learned from my real estate investment mistake that I made early on. I bought my first house at the age of 23 purely out of ego, because I associated house ownership with success, which was not the way to be, and I didn't really do budgeting and bought a house that I couldn't afford. But I also learned that, to take advantage, I learned from the other side. I learned from the person who bought my house at the economic downturn. So I learned about the timing, the economic cycle. So I learned about how to be successful to invest in real estate. So I mean, at a glance, I would say I wouldn't change a thing, because then otherwise I wouldn't be so successful now. But one advice I would have for the younger kids and my kids would be to invest early. Save more than half of how much you make and invest. Stay away from debt. Also, the things that make you feel so cool that you feel like you need to buy, they are not going to make you happy. People who love you will make you happy. So don't focus on things, invest in people. I love the saying from the minimalist. They said, use things, love people, not the other way around. So, don't be focusing on spending money and for the instant gratification, but rather just focusing on long term. So instead of buying coffee every day at Starbucks, think about maybe, instead you can own a share of Starbucks stock and watch it grow. So just think about it in a different way.
Where can people find out more about you?
So I do have a website, numbersnerdconsulting.com, where you can get the link to my free personal finance course that talks about investment and other personal financial concepts. You can also find me on Facebook. I have a free Facebook group called Debt Free Family, where you can take all sorts of workshops for free.
Thank you for joining me to learn more about investing in entrepreneurship. My name is Estrada, your host, and I look forward to seeing you next time.